What's going on, people? Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Morning View here on United View. Happy Friday. It's going to be a big day today. Ten Hag's going to be talking to the media, which you would imagine there's been a lot of statements made. So I think he will be heavily reliant upon referring to those. Nevertheless, there's going to be posed a lot of questions from the media, and he's going to have to talk about a lot of stuff. And we're going to find out, actually, there is a game tomorrow. Who's fit? Who can we expect to play? And those are the things he probably will speak on more so than the big stuff. The stuff coming out last night, United back Ten Hag, total support. Sancho, he's talking about double standards, essentially saying that he feels mistreated. There's been a little bit more on that. There is an Amrabat fitness boost. Of course, the Brighton preview, and there's a little bit of a fitness boost on Lindelof as well. So much to get into, and it's polarizing. Me and Owen were talking about this yesterday and a little bit before we went live today preparing the show, and actually, loads of you guys have been online. You scroll Twitter and put in Sancho and just have a look for 5 minutes, and you will see a plethora of different opinions, and it's no different to when it was Ronaldo and other situations that have gone at the club. These things divide opinion, but we got to get into it, Owen, because there's a lot gone on. Smash a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. It just won't go away, and it was a big set of revelations yesterday, wasn't it? Because you went live sort of saying about he's going to check with the statement Man United put out.
Yeah.
I was then going to do my reaction to that because I was on my way back in at that stage, and then we got more. So it's insane. So what's the latest now? What's happened now?
Yes. So the latest now, actually, it's a good point you make. So if you're not familiar, you're not aware, yesterday United released a statement essentially saying that Jadon Sancho is going to be training individually away from the first team whilst they try and resolve a squad discipline issue, is what they called. Now, it was later reported on in the day by the likes of Laurie Whitwell and then plenty of others that Jadon Sancho had basically been asked or told to apologise to Erik ten Hag, and he had refused, hence why Sancho's away. John Murtough's trying to resolve this situation. Now, it was reported by the Daily Mail last night that Manchester United have given Erik ten Hag total support and are not pressuring him to back down. The manager is said to feel wronged and decided to take a tough stance by axing Jadon Sancho from training. As it comes to Jadon Sancho, his point of view in this, according to James Ducker from The Telegraph, Jadon Sancho refused to bow to Erik ten Hag's demand for a public apology. He is understood to feel that he is been a victim of double standards at Manchester United. Jadon Sancho believes there have been notable inconsistencies in the way Erik ten Hag has applied certain rules in relation to him compared to his teammates. So, I suppose the positive you could argue is that the manager's got the backing of the Manchester United hierarchy, in my opinion, as he should in these situations, because there's been a lot of talk. Lots of people in these instances, Flex, people like to bring up a lot of Sir Alex Ferguson quotes and all that kind of stuff. And probably the most relevant one is that no one player is bigger than the club, right? And that's kind of what this instance is. Now, we were chatting before we went live. Could there be an element of Jadon Sancho feeling that he's aggrieved and there are inconsistencies or there are double standards? Perhaps. And there might be sort of valid reasons for that. But I was kind of touching on this yesterday. The problem is that as more information comes out, there's still so much we don't know about all of this, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's still so much about. I mean, I saw you chatting yesterday, and we were just chatting about this, that you said, something must have happened in the week leading up to the Arsenal game of why he was dropped from the squad. And I look at it a bit differently. I look at this as clearly an issue that's been going on probably for the entirety of Erik ten Hag's tenure, right? If anything, they're saying that actually predates Erik ten Hag coming in with Jadon Sancho and some of the issues of training late or team meetings, sluggishness, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to describe it. And clearly it's been something that's been ongoing. There was obviously a flare-up last year for the reasons of him having to go away for a few months. And I guess they thought that certain things were resolved. They haven't been resolved. Mike Keegan said that he had heard that Jadon Sancho was due to start away against Spurs and that he was dropped because of an internal issue. United at the time denied it, but now looking back on it, probably some weight to that story. And then obviously there must have been something that happened prior to the Arsenal game to lead him to being dropped from the squad altogether. But it feels like this has been a constant issue that has now just blown up into something probably far bigger than maybe even you or I probably first envisaged that it would be. I mean, we were saying previously, weren't we, that we thought it was going to be a thing where he'll apologize, he won't play in the Brighton game because he can't play in the Brighton game, but he might be back for Bayern Munich, he might be back for the next Premier League game, whatever that is. And then they'll move on. He still might be gone in January. He still might be gone next summer, but he'll play more games for United. I think now we're looking at a situation going, the likelihood of Jadon Sancho ever playing again for Manchester United is very, very remote at this point in time. Because you've got both parties seemingly doubling down in their frustrations with the other party. You've got Jadon Sancho who's like, no, I'm not going to apologize. And you've got Erik ten Hag saying, well, I want basically nothing to do with you then. You've got no future here. You can't. And I don't really see what Jadon Sancho's end game is in all of this, apart from a move away. Because it can't be anything else. His end game can't be to play again for Manchester United. If you're refusing to apologize to the manager, doing a public statement saying that he's lying, basically, I mean, there's no end game in that, is there?
Also, and no, there is no end game, and that's why I said yesterday, I think this is the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of the end. Before this happened, as in like the aftermath of the incident, when we're like, is there a way back? I think most of us agreed, like, of course there is. There can be a way back. It doesn't look great in the long term. This is another serious thing, and you don't forget these things, but players can come back from adversity. We've seen it many, many times, right? But when this bit of it's happened, I can't see a way back. This is the beginning of the end. And I said it yesterday, I say it again, that whole Aubameyang situation, which wasn't as public in terms of Aubameyang saying something like this, but in terms of the manager saying, no, you've done one too many things now. You're training with the under 23s. You're not being selected. Then it gets to January, and then there's movement. That's how I see this playing out. I can't see how he stays beyond that. And if he does, I don't think he's going to play much anyway. And it clearly is not going to do anyone any good. And for me, the thing about what some people are kind of latching onto the fact that, but why does Ten Hag want him to say sorry in public? Well, you were big enough in front of 2.3 million people to put, your situation out there or voice your opinion out there.
The apology should be as loud as the disrespect.
There you go. However, I did, before this bit happened, I have to hold my hands up. I did say, just do everything private now, because that's the whole problem with this. Like, he went public with what he had to say about Ten Hag, and he feels aggrieved and he's a scapegoat, and basically calling the manager a liar. You can dress it up how you want. He's called Ten Hag a liar in front of millions of people. You don't do that as a footballer. You don't do that to your manager. Even if you believe that he is lying, you bang on his door and you go and sort it out in private. So I was of the thing of, there's been enough played out in public now. Can we not sort this out in-house? And I was a little bit surprised to see that he wants him to apologize publicly. Now, I don't know if we're mixing the words there. Publicly surely must mean a statement again on your own, and maybe Ten Hag is being a bit strong on that, because I don't know, maybe he's taking the disrespect too far, like you just said there, and you want the apology to be as loud as the disrespect. But what good does it do doing it publicly?
You point that out, but it triggered something, because we speak about the Ronaldo situation, and whilst it's not exactly the same, it's somewhat similar. You forget that obviously United issued a statement when he walked out against Spurs, and United issued that statement saying that he was, not going to be available for the Chelsea game. Ronaldo did issue a statement essentially apologizing for what he did at the time.
He did actually, didn't he?
He did. I've got it in front of me.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he did.
And he said, I've always done throughout my career, I try to live and play respectfully towards my colleagues, my adversaries, my coaches. That hasn't changed. I haven't changed. I'm the same person, the same professional I've been for the last 20 years playing elite football, and respect has always played a very important role in my decision-making process. blah, blah, blah. Therefore, later on, I've always tried to set the example myself of the youngsters that grew in all the teams that I've represented. Unfortunately, that's not always possible. And sometimes the heat of the moment gets to the best of us. Right now, I just feel I have to keep working hard in Carrington, support my teammates, and be ready for everything in any given game. Giving in to the pressure is not an option. It never was. This is Manchester United, and United we must stand. Soon we'll be together again. Now, he didn't
So it's a load
really
of bollocks,
apologize.
but
Yeah, but he
yeah,
put out a
but he did.
statement
He kind of
basically
did,
sort
yeah.
of, and again, Sancho could have done that, when it's like, do you have to say the words "I'm sorry"? You got to put out something. You know what I mean? You can't put out nothing. And again, I go back to the whole sort of timeline of this over Eric Ten Hag's tenure, and if just some of the things. And I'm saying all of the things written about Jadon Sancho are true, because I don't think it's fair to cast that wide of a net upon his character or anything like that. But if some of the things are true, and you look at patterns of behavior going back to Borussia Dortmund and Manchester City and things like that, then you would go, I don't see what double standards realistically Jadon Sancho could be really latching onto. If his double standards is, this guy isn't performing like Anthony, he's not performing well in the team, therefore I should be starting in the team. But if some of the things are accurate in the sense of, but there's times that you're late to team meetings, or times you're late to training, or sluggishness in training, then you're going to be fighting a losing battle there. And you do have to look internally at yourself and go, what could I be doing better? Now, Jadon Sancho in his statement said that he felt that he was training fine, but realistically, he doesn't pick the team. This is the thing I can't get my head around with all of this, is that it's the manager that picks the team. If the manager doesn't think you're training well enough, then you're not going to get into the squad. That's it. You can have your differences of opinion about it. I wouldn't recommend going public about it, because you lead to incidents like this. But, if you want to pick the team, become a manager. That's it. And now I just look at it and like, he's done, clearly. Because even if he apologizes, and this is what we were touching on previously too, even if he apologizes, you can't get away from, it's a black eye, isn't it? Involved in all of this situation, and you can't get away from that.
Yeah.
And, his long-term future was compromised anyway because of this, even if he apologized. And now it looks like that it's, if anything, more certain it's just not going to be at Manchester United.
No, and it basically he saw that as an opportunity to basically say what he really thinks, basically, which is that there's other things going on. I'm a scapegoat. People do that all the time. One thing happens, and then they can kind of use that as a chance to say a whole bunch of other stuff that they've always thought. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just going to say that now, because this has poked me. So now I can say all of the stuff that I was actually thinking, which is that I've been mistreated and I've been a scapegoat for a long time, and there's other stuff going on. I'm just going to let it all out now because I've had enough. Like it felt like that. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments / super chats as well, members chats. Show says fans crying for this 18 months ago, now crying because their favorite players are getting called out. Cam was right, calling his fan base a bunch of something. Tad says the fans now going against Eric Ten Hag were the same fans crying out for tough, ruthless manager to get rid of player power. Hypocrites, a lot of them. I mean, you do have to choose what you want, because me and KG, everyone else who was on the streams at the time when Ten Hag was about to come in, a lot of people in the chat. I remember this community. I mean, it's grown a lot since then in a year's time. Of course it has. So it's a lot of new people here, which is amazing. But I remember the community at the time, we always absolutely, like what Tad says there, we want no more player power. We want a manager to come in who's strong, who's ruthless, who doesn't give a crap, who just says it as it is, and makes big decisions. And we got that in our first year. And now he's being consistent with that. It's a problem. I don't understand. King Mo says Ra, so Sancho is the reason we have been losing games. LOL, all of these just a cover up for United's poor form. Attention on the Brighton game, says King Mo. I don't think it's a cover up, bro.
No, I don't think.
And again, Sancho said this.
And again, and also as well, that the first bit there, so Sancho is the reason we've been losing games. That's the point. No, because he's not been involved. He's not been involved. That's why the whole scapegoat thing makes no sense to me. Because, like I said, after the Arsenal game, nobody said we lost 3-1 against Arsenal because Jadon Sancho wasn't involved. No one was saying that. If anything, earlier on in the season, we were saying maybe Sancho should get a chance. But again, we didn't know what was going on in the training pitch at the time or going on behind the scenes. But if anything, it's an indictment on him, that on his Man United career, that when he's not involved in the Arsenal squad, was there any much of a difference? Not really.
No,
Not really.
there wasn't. And now and like Owen said, there, King Mo. Like no one's saying that Sancho's the reason why we've been crap. Not at all. If anything, like I say, the first couple of games, people were saying actually maybe bring Sancho in a little bit.
Yeah.
Looked all right off coming off the bench. Looked quite sharp. And then we get this. So there's obviously something bigger than that. I don't think people are blaming Sancho for Man United's poor form. And Wilski Legrand says, "Are we going to pretend Eric Ten Hag didn't start all this by bringing it to the public? It's clear United fans latch on to any gossip, and Ten Hag knows this." I disagree on that. I've said this many times, man. Let me know what you think, Whiskey Legrand. It's interesting you say that. And anyone else who actually agrees with what Whiskey Legrand said, that basically this is Ten Hag's fault for going public in the first place. And I push back on that. Having been in the camp with if you go back and watch my initial reaction to this straight after the Arsenal game, I was in that camp. I had to rethink what I said after that. I don't think I was completely off, but in hindsight, when I thought about it, I thought, I don't know what more I think I could have expected from Ten Hag to do. At the start, I was saying it's 6-1, half a dozen the other. I was like, Ten Hag could have just dodged that and not brought it to the forefront. But actually, when you look back, like Owen says, and many other people have said, he doesn't throw him under the bus. We answered the question honestly and clearly with Sancho's reaction. Let's be honest, guys. I think it's fair to say that if Ten Hag would have said anything other than this other thing that Sancho is talking about that we all don't know about, he was going to come out and do this because he wasn't. Sancho's vexed because he wasn't in the squad. Okay, Sancho believes he should have been in the squad. Let's not forget, because Sancho helps us here by coming out and saying what he said in black and white in 2 big paragraphs. He says, I have trained well, essentially, and the reason why I'm not in the squad is something I can't go into right now. I've been made a scapegoat. That's what he said. He says, it's not because I'm ill, it's not tactical, and it's not because I'm injured, and it's not because I didn't train well. It's something else. So if Eric Ten Hag would have said he's injured but he's not, Sancho would have come out and said a madness. If Eric Ten Hag said he's ill but he's not, Sancho would have come out and said a madness. So I disagree that Ten Hag it's his fault by bringing it into the public, and he knows that, so he did it on purpose.
Well, the moment he didn't pick him for the Arsenal game, it was brought into public because people were going to ask that question. I think you're a bit naive if you think that no one was going to ask Eric Ten Hag in that press conference, "Where's Jadon Sancho?" Because people were going to ask that question.
Was as well.
Yeah, exactly. And he said he was ill. Whether or not McTominay was ill, we don't know. He didn't come out and do a statement. He went on international duty, and he did fine.
And probably wasn't ill.
And we've seen again, even at United, I go back to Jose and just other managers in the league talking about their players. They've been far more fierce in their criticisms of their players. I mean, Ten Hag said that, I've got options and I pick the squad based on training performances. He didn't say like, Jadon Sancho, if he wants to stay at this club, he's got to buck up his ideas, or training this week, he's been a disgrace. He's been this, that, and the other. He answered the question that he knew he was going to get the moment Sancho wasn't included in that squad.
Yeah, so he obviously knew what he was going to say when they asked me.
Exactly.
He knew, and he just said the truth.
Exactly. And and I agree with you that I feel like anything he would have said in that instance, he would have got a response. Even if he said no, imagine he just said no comment, nothing, or whatever. Yeah. Then people would be like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Absolutely.
So
imagine he said, "I only want to talk about the game. I only want to talk about the game."
Yeah. People, Sancho.
Yeah, he couldn't have won in that situation.
No, exactly. And I thought he handled it as probably as best as he could. And certainly, as they've said numerous times with these reports, he didn't expect Jadon Sancho to come out and do this statement because
no, he didn't.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, he wouldn't expect that. And like Sean says, when Pep called Phillips, overweight or fat last year, remember, I saw Calvin Phillips a little bit later in that season. It might have been near the end of the season. He done an interview, and he said, "Yeah, I'd got back from pre-season or holiday or whatever it was." And he said, did he say he'd been injured or something? And he basically explained why he had put on a bit. And he just kind of just took it. And it's easier to do that when you're winning. I get it. And it's easier to do that when you're Pep Guardiola, one of the greatest managers of all time. But essentially, it's about how players respond. And I think which way you look at this, Jadon Sancho has picked the wrong medium, the wrong method of response. That's what this is. People saying fair play. Yeah, if he feels aggrieved, damn right he should defend himself. Don't let the manager take the mick out of you. I think you're missing the point. Whether you think it's right or wrong as the player, your method of addressing it shouldn't be that. in
Well,
my opinion.
it's funny as well because Ange Postecoglou has been speaking about the improvement of Basuma recently, and it's quite actually interesting because part of it is lateness, right? So he said in one of his first training sessions, got the quote in front of me. He said to Basuma, "quote I said you can be a leader in this group. I already knew of his ability and the way he was training. I could see he got a lift out of that." Quote, he was late the next morning, and I said to be a leader means to be on time, and he's been good since then. So there is always lessons to be learned. So again, you're getting back to what's your reaction to it? What's your reaction to that? And unfortunately, in this instance, the reaction from Sancho, in my opinion, clearly wasn't the right one, wasn't the positive one. And now this has spilled over into public, but I stress we don't know what's been preceding this for a year,
Yeah, we don't
and it
know.
might have just been from Ten Hag's point of view. I'm at the end of my tether, and now this guy's refusing to apologize to me. He's done. No, done.
Mm,
Wash my hands of him.
yeah. Produced by Palmeiras says, how many of these United fans are United fans? It's very easy to pretend to be something else on social media. Rival fans making fake accounts. Yes, I see what you mean there. You can never be sure with the whole identity of what accounts what. You can never be sure. JD Carmelo, been a member for 13 months, says Eric Ten Hag is getting rid of player power, and I'm all for it. The manager is the first person to lose his job if it all goes wrong. So let Eric Ten Hag run the team. Simple. Spot on. Spot on. I agree. Because if it does go wrong and Man United lose a whole load of games on the bounce and, they go out of every competition and finish 15th, he'll get sacked. The buck stops at the manager, doesn't it? And the response
Mhm.
of the man, you can't get rid of, a squad of 24 players, but you can get rid of one guy and his coaching staff. And that's what happens. So exactly, let the manager manage, let him make his decisions. If they turn out to be wrong in 2 years, 18 months, we'll see. But I'm backing the manager. Max says, does anyone actually think he'll be missed? And that's kind of what Owen's been alluding to, is that he hasn't torn up trees. Of course, it's not great. It's a big outlay. He's talking about our recruitment again, another big player who's come in, not hit the heights. It's not great. We really want Sancho to work, but Max got a good point. How much will we miss Jadon Sancho at this current moment? Lil Yo-Yo says, all this would never happen if Sancho was on point. Has his standards high. I see what you're saying there, Lil Yo-Yo. And Tad says, if Eric Ten Hag said Sancho was injured or ill, then Sancho would just call Eric Ten Hag a liar, as he has done. Sancho clearly overrates himself. Talent needs hard work. And Tad also says, last super chat, I feel Eric Ten Hag made it public as a last resort to test Sancho's resolve. Sancho failed the test and would be sold. Good riddance, in my opinion. And FA, a member of the channel as well, says, let's be honest, fan channels are really not helping the matter. We accuse the media of blowing this up, but dedicating several videos to it daily is just as bad, I think. I am watching, though. I mean, I don't know what you mean. We have to talk about what's going on.
Imagine if we went through a day and we just didn't address it, head in the sand, we're not talking about it. People would be like, why are you not talking about it? Unfortunately, I can't speak for you, Flex. I'd much rather not be talking about the drama that goes on behind the scenes at Manchester United, and would be rather talking about the success that happens on the pitch. But unfortunately, that's not Man United at the moment. It is drama all the time. And it doesn't happen with any other club. I mean, look, at every day is constant drama, constant statements. There's a reason we've been labeled Statement FC this season, and it's trending on social media. But, and I agree with you in that, you'd rather be talking about something else. But unfortunately, the news is the news sometimes, and you've got to talk about it. You've got to address it. These are the things that Man United fans are talking about, and it's the things that the media are talking about too, And also, I think
It's the
you
thing
have
that
to realize
Sancho's talking about.
Sancho's talking about, and sometimes as well, we have done. You notice as well when we felt that it was getting too much. For instance, Jadon Sancho shy at press appearances.
Yeah.
That's when you come on in and go, that's bullshit. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But I get it, because you do wake up every day, and every time there has been Man United statement, peek behind the curtain, guys. I never call anyone. I don't use my phone like that. I'm always a WhatsApper or a voice noter. I don't actually phone people. And whenever I phone Flex now, he goes,
"Oh, mate,
I
hate it."
Because he
And
knows
it's quite bad, actually. It's quite bad.
Yeah.
You should probably change that. So I don't want to just associate phone calls with you with bad news. That's not good.
Yeah.
I think you should just call me, just like in the
I don't
afternoon
do
one
that.
time.
I don't do
I
that.
know, but just to break up, just say how I like. You okay?
I don't do
Yeah,
that.
you
I
good?
did that. KG does that to me. KG's good for that, but actually,
He
well,
is.
KG is ish for that because he also only does it when he's driving. So basically, he'll be like, you pick up the phone, you go, all right, mate, and you can hear in the background, you know, "Ooh," and you go, you're driving it, you goes, just wanted someone to talk to you, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, you feel very used because as soon as he
Yeah.
gets there, he cuts the call off really quick.
Yeah, you start hearing the beeps. You start being on an old school payphone. You start hearing the beeps
Yeah,
beep, 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 beep,
because
because he's
reversing.
reversing.
Yeah,
Reversing. And he
yeah.
goes, all right, anyway, see you later. You go, oh, all right.
Yeah. Oh, I was just getting to my point there, actually, mate.
Yeah.
Just getting warmed up. Yeah, it's typical KG. This is what he does. And Dill says, is it too early to point out the elephant in the room? Sancho is building up to be a wasted genius. Bags of talent, no focus, may end up like Balotelli, etc. Is it too early? A little bit, I'd say. I know why you're going down that route, and Dill. It's got a feel of that, but he is still really young. What is Sancho? 23. And did so well at Dortmund. And I get it. You're saying there's a familiar trait there. Balotelli in his prime was sort of early to mid 20s, and you're thinking what a player in there. But the attitude and stuff that came with him, sort of superseded the talent. And I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again. I said it at the end of my reaction yesterday. This is sad because Sancho is someone that we really wanted, man. Or most of us did anyway. Can't speak for everyone, but a lot of us really wanted him. Really excited, one of the top wingers, top young wingers in Europe. Not just young, just one of the top wingers in Europe at that time. Has still got a super high ceiling if he can sort this out. And I did say, hopefully it is at Man United, which I think I've said at the top of this show and yesterday, I think is probably not going to happen. But wherever his next club is, if it's not going to be here, I really do hope that he can learn from this and become the player that he can be. You know what I mean? And go back to the levels that we saw at Dortmund, but do that for, no disrespect to Dortmund, a bigger club. It was supposed to be Man United. Let's hope he does it somewhere else because it's not good seeing a lot of this talent being wasted, man.
Well,
Young guys who are really good,
let's face it now. I mean, he's miles off. I mean, miles
miles
off
off.
where he was and also just where he should be as well. I mean, when he came to United, that summer, that's when it was the Euro 2020, but in 2021. And he was involved in that Euro squad, obviously. Now he's nowhere near the England setup anymore. Nowhere near.
And looks miles off getting back as
And
well.
yeah, the bad thing for him too is that there are a lot of good players in that England squad now, like a lot. And the gap seemingly
Especially in his
between them,
position.
and the gap between them is seemingly getting bigger and bigger and bigger and
Yeah.
bigger. Because you're looking at people like Bukayo Saka, not even close at the moment.
Yeah.
Not even
Foden
close.
on the right, can't
Yeah,
play ahead
people
of
just
him.
flying ahead of him, aren't they?
Even Maddison on the left instead
Yeah,
of Rashford, Grealish. Like
exactly.
can't talk to them.
So, and that is when you would hope there would be people around who go, mate, like something's got to change soon because
It's got to be on him.
you're wasting it. You're wasting it. The chance is there, but you're wasting it, and it can go. I mean, they always say, don't they? It can go so fast like that. Next thing you know, it's 2 or 3 years down the line. You're like, I don't know if I'll ever play for England again. Where am I at in terms of the level I'm playing at and all that kind of stuff? It goes fast, quick, and you get to these sort of, you get to these crossroads in your career, and you have to try and take the right road. And like you said, and it is like sad that it's come to this of a player that we celebrated side and we chased for over a year. And now it looks like probably his future is going to end up training with the reserves and then going in January or going out on loan in January or what have you. My only hope is, and I was thinking about this last night, Flex, that I was thinking, can it get any worse? Can it get any worse than what it currently is? That, but I don't know. I'm thinking Piers Morgan's picking up the phone, right? Jaden,
it can always get worse, mate.
What you at?
Yeah, it can always get worse. Ray Carl Brown says, I can't stand what Sancho did because look at Pep. He can dress down Haaland and smack the camera, call out Phillips, drop Hart and sell him. But United, it's become a circus. We need to back the manager. That's why we fail. Lil Yo-Yo says, bad news, Owen. I'm afraid I got some bad news. And produced by Palmeiras says, the whataboutism from these Sancho defenders goes to show what we're dealing with. They would have been Fergie out like 15 times during his career. And Sin Games is the latest member of the United View Members Club as well, which you can also join. Remember, just under 2,000 people watching live, which is wicked. Only 233 likes. Can we get the likes up, guys?
What do
Come
you
on,
think?
let's do it.
What do you think the reaction would have been? Because again, like in Sir Alex Ferguson's tenure, I got this yesterday during the live, and someone said the fact that there's someone stepping out of line says a lot about Ten Hag's grip or discipline on the club. And I pushed back on that because I said Sir Alex Ferguson, who we revere as, a disciplinarian, authoritarian, he was in charge of everything. It's not as if he didn't have people step out on him, because he did several
Absolutely.
times, But what really people judge you on is how you react to it. And it doesn't matter your status or stature in the squad. You look at people like Roy Keane. Roy Keane was the ultimate when that happened. Yeah, he was at the latter stage of his career, but he was still the captain at the time, wasn't he, Flex?
Yeah.
And Sir Alex went, no, go.
Yeah.
Not
Simple.
having it.
Yeah, but also you can't. People are trying to do that and use that comparative. Like, look what Ten Hag's inherited, and he's in his first year. People started walking out on Sir Alex after like a period of actual success as well. Like,
Yeah.
like Yap Stam won the
Just won
treble.
treble. Yeah.
Yap Stam won the treble and then crossed Sir Alex. It wasn't like a manager in his first year where everyone's getting to know the person and getting to feel him out. And actually, look what Ten Hag's inherited in terms of, in this day and age, with social media and all the media leaks and all this shit that's been happening that he's had to deal with. It's year one, game 5. Like, give him a chance. So and stop doing that comparison. You know what I mean? Some ex-players come out and say, a lot of things wouldn't even have happened. But like you said, there's a lot of, things that did happen, whether it's David Beckham, whether it's Ruud van Nistelrooy, whether it's Jaap Stam, whether it's Roy Keane. You know what I mean? Whether it's a little, exactly, 100%, whether it was a little bit of Rooney as Sir Alex left. We had to get him to stay once before, had to put him in his place. I always remember him saying, I think Rooney said he was wrong when he sort of went into the manager's office and was like, but what's the intentions? Like, who we signing? And all that kind of, he said, get the hell out. You don't ask me who we're signing, sort of thing. So, it happens. So that's an unfair comparison to Ten Hag, that one that he's never going to win when you stand him up to Sir Alex. But at the same time, you have to put things into context. Let's move on to something positive. Let's move on to some positivity, because there is a game tomorrow, a big game tomorrow.
Yes.
And Amrabat, there's been, yeah, exactly, there is. And there's been reports that Amrabat will be fit. There's been reports also that Lindelof will be fit, and we'll have to wait and see on Lisandro Martinez as well, who could also be fit as well.
Flex Carve kind of reared his head a little bit there.
Yeah,
will be fit to play. Yes, from the Telegraph, they're saying that United hope to have Sofiane Amrabat available to face Brighton tomorrow. Amrabat hadn't signed in time, obviously, to face Arsenal before the international break. He did join up with the Morocco squad, only to be withdrawn with a precautionary issue believed to be his back. He's been back at Carrington dealing with the issue, but is hoped to be fit for his debut at Old Trafford. Of course, Victor Lindelof, people were concerned about his fitness, of course, though he's played in Sweden's games in the international break. It was just an illness. So he's seemingly available. Lisandro Martinez, up in the air at the moment. We don't really know. That's going to be one of those questions I guess we'll find out today. Peachy's going to be loving it today in this press conference. Eric, team news. He's like, where do you start, Peach? He's going to be, he's going to love it so much. We spoke yesterday, didn't we, saying about Amrabat. You still leaning in that he doesn't start?
I don't think he'll start. No, I think he'll be involved, though. I think he'll be involved. I would love him to see how long he can play. Let's go for it. I would love that lift tomorrow. I really, because it's been so negative. I'd love to see Højlund and Amrabat from the start. But the only way that happens is if there's a situation with Bruno and he puts him out wide. And I don't really want to see that, to be honest.
Do you think Bruno's going to start on the right?
No, I don't. But I'm saying if Amrabat does, then I think that means that he would. So I don't think Eriksen is going to get dropped and doesn't deserve to be. Eriksen's been playing really well. We talk about our shiny new toys and we want to see this new person, but we often forget about the balance and how the squad's playing and if a player's coming into the form at the right time or doing the right things. And Eriksen is doing that. He was really good against Arsenal. He was really good against Forest. And he deserves to start again. He does.
Good international on his international duty.
And he's in banging good form in international duty. Bruno's banging form in the international duty. Obviously, he's going to start. I'm just saying, I want to see him in his normal position. So I think he still goes Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno. And like you say, probably hopefully starts Pellistri. But I don't think Amrabat will start.
It's a really curious one, isn't it? Because, I mean, with all of the noise, we sort of forget that it's Brighton, and Brighton are good. Yeah,
Yes,
Brighton
we have to
are
be ready,
good.
bro.
We have to be ready. And let's face it, just from a team perspective, we're not ready because a lot of our players aren't available and injured. And from a sort of, pure focus point of view, there's no way that everyone's totally focused with what's been going on at the moment as well. And like we were saying, Brighton are really, really good. And we got a point to prove because who was the one team that beat us at home last season? It was
Yeah,
Brighton.
exactly.
It wasn't De Zerbi's Brighton, but it was Brighton nevertheless. It was Graham Potter's Brighton. And then we lost both games, didn't we? Lost home and
Lost
away
both
because
games,
the
mate.
away one was the Luke
We
Shaw
didn't actually
handball.
beat them in 90 minutes last year.
No. No. And let's be honest, I mean, thankfully it's at home, but it's really sort of one of the worst games you could come out of an international break when there's been so much noise surrounding Manchester United. Not to be negative here, because I know people will go, you've been negative in the comments, but it's not. You want to be playing Luton at home coming out of this international break, realistically.
Yeah,
You want to build up some
yeah,
momentum. And
yeah.
it's tough. It's a
Mate, it's a
tough one.
hard week.
But if we get a positive result tomorrow, that really
Mm.
can shush a lot of people, can't it? It really can.
Yeah,
Like,
but if you
okay,
don't, you know what's
pipe
going to
it down.
happen.
Oh yeah, but
And these are the
to
fine
be honest,
margins that it
that was
is.
going to
It
happen
doesn't even mean it's
regardless.
over. Yeah,
That would happen
absolutely.
regardless if we
Yeah.
lose. My worry is just like Brighton. They're at that place, and De Zerbi's at that place where they're not going to come to Old Trafford and be like, oh, okay, let's adjust the game
No
plan. The
chance.
game plan's
No
the same.
chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when they played Arsenal at the Emirates last year, and I know you could say, well, Arsenal made a couple mistakes. They were brilliant at the Emirates
Yeah.
last year. Unbelievable. And they'll try and do the same at Old Trafford tomorrow. And I really do hope that we get that positive result and it's just a kind of, a pipe down situation. Okay, right, let's move on. Because like I said, it's going to be a big week. Brighton, Bayern Munich as well, away. And we're kind of assuming that the Bayern Munich game away, that result might not go our way, but you can't say the sky's fallen in that one because you've still got plenty of games to go in the Champions League group. So it's going to be a tough one. So going back to saying,
It's mad. And when they go on the road, look, I'm just
right.
looking here, last year, at Anfield, drew 3-3, beat them in this January 3-0 at the Amex, beat them last year again, 29th of January. That was cup, or different game, but yeah, FA Cup that was, beat them. Like against the big teams, they do well.
Well, and
They
also
do
as
well.
well, thinking that, I mean, this is where it's going to be really interesting to see what he says about Lisandro Martinez today. But if we're assuming that he might not make it, and it's Maguire and Lindelof,
Yeah.
and we
A lot of pressure.
that Brighton, they will be pressing from the front intensely, and United, because we've got the goalkeeper now, will be playing out from the back.
Yeah.
Regardless, there are going to be some of those sort of spiky hair raised moments where like on the ball. It's going to be a nerve-wracking watch, I think, at points. And what's your prediction at the moment? How are you feeling about it at the moment?
2-1.
Or have you not really
2-1
given it
Man
much
United.
thought? Because to be honest,
No, I have.
I haven't really given much thought with everything that's been going on.
I have. Yeah, no, I'd have. But it's probably because I'd done the preview, which was supposed to come out yesterday and stuff, but everything's just been so busy.
Coming out today.
It is coming out today, shortly after this, actually. Yes, I've gone with a 2-1 win. Tight. Really, really, really tight. Really, really tight. These are the sorts of games. I know it's cliche that it could be a draw, could be on the wrong end. You don't know. But if we turn up, if we play, and I'll say this, and I do mean it, if we play to the best of our ability, we don't lose to Brighton at home. We don't. But you can say that about a lot of games, and that's why you don't win a lot of games. Brighton are a very good team. Brighton aren't scared, and like I said, I don't want to give away too much from the preview, but talking to Ryan at TSR, these are the games where they're going there saying, yeah, let's have a bit of them. They ain't that good right now. Beat them there last year. We're the only team to beat them there last year, actually.
Yeah.
In the most recent 3 games we've played, they've been even. And it's only Brighton have won 2 and essentially drawn 1.
Yeah.
So our recent record against Brighton is not good, and every game is close. Every single game. The one at the Amex was close, last minute Luke Shaw, but both of us had
We were a bit
chances.
unfortunate in that one. We
Bit
were a bit
unfortunate. You know, Rashford missed chances, but Matoma was clean through after Lindelof tried to pass it back to De Gea, and then they should have scored after like 6 minutes. Didn't. Don't know how he didn't score. Like chances for both teams. The FA Cup semi-final was nip and tuck. Let's be honest. Nobody deserved to win that over 90 minutes, over 120 minutes. Nobody deserved to win. It was like they were both, you know, nip and tuck. Both managers understood each other. And the game, like I said, the first game of the season, Eric Ten Hag's first game in Premier League football, he found out about Brighton. You know what I mean? Yes, we had Eriksen as a false nine, and it was
Which
a
is
bit crap.
crazy when you think about that. He would
Yeah,
never do
exactly.
that now.
He'd never do that now.
He would never
But
do
he
that
felt,
now.
he felt that, Ronaldo missed all of bloody preseason. Martial was injured.
But even
And he wanted
like
Rashford on the wing.
now, he'd be like, put Rashi up front. He would never do that anymore.
He'd never do that. But now we've got the emergence of Garnacho. At the time, Garnacho wasn't allowed to play yet because didn't play all in preseason as well because of his issues. There was no Ahmad. There was no, there wasn't a lot. It's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think was it who started that game? Was it Sancho, Rashford, Eriksen?
I'll have a look. I know the centre
But
back
even then, he
was
could have put a
Maguire Martinez. I remember that it was Maguire Martinez.
Even that, you could have done a Langa. You could have put, a Langa, Sancho, Rashi.
And also as well, we didn't even the goal we scored was an own goal. Is that that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Let's have a look. What was this? What was the starting lineup? So it was De Gea in goal, back four of Shaw, Martinez, Maguire, Dallo. You had McTominay and Fred started that one at midfield.
Yeah, because you got to remember Casemiro weren't there yet.
Yeah. Bruno Fernandes, I guess, in the 10, and a front three of Sancho, Eriksen, Rashford.
Yeah, it was Sancho, Eriksen, Rashford. But, Alanga would have been probably on the bench, didn't trust him. So it was mental. It was mental. But there you go. You can't play them makeshift teams against Brighton, mate, because they will mash you up for sure. Let's check the comments. Owen Livia says, Owen, has your dad bought a shirt this season? Has he? Gonna have to ask him.
Not with anyone on the back. Oh,
okay.
I don't know. Actually, he might have. I don't know.
Yeah,
I will confirm that one. Someone asked me. I did see there saying that has he ever bought a Sancho shirt? And I refuse to comment.
Oh no! See, and the thing is, you got the cheek to talk to me about Judge. Your dad, your dad is like top of the list.
He admits it. He admits it. Unlike you, he's not in denial. He'll fully admit it. And last season, we thought it was broken because he got Rashford and Martinez.
Yeah, no, good seasons.
Good seasons.
I love that your dad always gets every single year gets a player on the back.
Yeah,
because it's brilliant. Because as the years go on, there's always going to be a story to tell about X player. Because most players aren't going to be.
Most of them, like I said, all of them. They're all in the studio at the moment because I brought them. And
it's funny when you just see.
What's funny,
Jones, I know. Lukaku, Fred.
I remember. Occasionally, like when we've got guests or something, people will come in and be like, I'll put a shirt on. And they go through and they go, who was at the back of this shirt? Phil Jones. And you have to go, well,
Yeah, exactly. Listen, support the club, mate. Support the team. Support the players.
Yeah.
The press is today. And it's gonna be a big one. However, the more I think about it, the less I think Eric Ten Hag's going to say. We said about the statements, didn't we? We said that they needed to get these statements out so that come the presser, all Eric Ten Hag needs to do is refer back to them. The club has spoken on them. There's been an announcement. That's it. And he'll repeat that around the big ones, around Anthony, and Sancho. Around Sancho. But it is weird with the Sancho one. I wonder if they can get anything more out of him.
Do you think he says anything else? Because I mean, he'll say, look, the statement is what it is, and that's all I'll say about it.
Surely he's going to say,
but if they sort of, I was going to say, if they sort of tweak it, they turn the screw a little bit, will Jadon Sancho ever play for Manchester United again? Because that's not in the statement.
He ain't answering that.
Not in the statement, though, is it?
Yeah.
You can't say refer to the statement. It doesn't say anything about the statement.
No, it doesn't say anything about that. Oh, you'd have to answer that. It's up to him. I might say that. But then it's another thing digging out Sancho. And why did you say that? He said, I think they need this to go away. I will not talk about the player. You know, I
I'm
won't
still talking
say
about
anything.
Brighton. I'm
I
still talking
won't.
about
Yeah, I won't say anything more. You know, there's been a statement, and we'll have to see what happens. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question, because if they ask that specific question, which actually
Yeah.
they will, Simon Stone will say, "Is there a future for
Yeah.
Jaden? I mean, you know, all this going on. Could he could he still play for you?" He can ask that, and
Mhm.
he's going to have to
Yeah,
say,
it's clear. It's clear.
mm,
It's clear. He has to follow the rules, the principles, and then
yeah,
he'll just go. But I'm going to talk about Brighton, something like that, maybe. And you know what the crazy thing is, and this is the annoying thing with these press conferences, is that so we'll get the first one. It's at 1:30, 1:45 today, so we'll be live about 2 for
yeah,
it, and we'll be chatting, and then that'll be cool. But 10:30 tonight, when the embargoed bit comes out, all of the good stuff comes out.
I know.
That's the thing to wait for. The embargoed one tonight, because basically
Oh,
how it works is they ask the questions they've got to get out of the way. You know, the
yeah,
real sort
yeah.
of ones,
Team
the
news,
ones,
this,
and the
that, yeah,
ones he's got to do sort of yes, no comment on, blah blah blah. Even though they know he won't answer certain things, but they have to ask him anyway because that's their job to do
yeah,
that. And then the second half, you get a bit more creative and you ask some other things and other things open up. And that's why so many times you'll be on social media just before you go to bed. I'll just scroll through my phone, blah, blah, blah. And then you go, oh, he said this. When did he say this? All of it comes out in the second part. So it'll be interesting today. So today's going to be fascinating. And I'm
mm.
sure that Ten Hag and, you know, the press officers at Manchester United, the press liaisons, they'll be right now. The last week
Oh,
they've been
listen.
strategizing. What do we say?
Oh,
How do we answer this?
bro. They would have rehearsed this. Like they would have
Yeah.
just done mock up interviews. Right, I'll be Simon Stone. Right, right, I'll be Samuel Luckhurst. Right, you be Ten
Yeah.
Hag. You're still up there. Right, Eric, is he? Mate, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised because
The best one
he's
is
got to get this right.
a really good example of that is in the All or Nothing documentary, the Spurs one. And it's one of Jose's first press conferences. And you see him sitting with a press officer and he goes, right, they're probably going to ask you about this. They're probably going to ask you about this. They're definitely going to ask you about this, blah, blah, blah. And they sort of go through, you know, some things that people are going to be asked. And they sort of say, probably say this, probably say that. So they'll know. They'll know. The same way that we're chatting about now, going, what are they going to say? What are they, you know, what are they going to ask? But Ten Hag, he can be very cagey, or sometimes he can open up when you don't think he will open up, and he'll give some
Yeah,
answers that are
exactly.
quite
That's what I
interesting.
mean. Rob Dawson wrote in the last sort of 10 minutes. Sorry to go back to the Sancho thing, but just interesting that Rob Dawson wrote this. He said Ten Hag will not back down over his demand for an apology from Jadon Sancho. If Sancho refuses, he is risking his long-term future at United, which we basically know. And there's also a picture from the Mail Sport
Of him
of Jadon
arriving
Sancho turning up to work.
and sort of hiding behind the sun
With
visor.
the sun visors down. What's that? Looks like a nice
Proper
little
leaning.
G wagon there, little G wagon, barbarous G wagon, and yeah, he's just leaning over just to make sure he's
The
not seen.
question
But listen,
is he hiding or is he just doing
could
what a
just
lot
be,
of people do?
could just be checking on you.
Checking. Yeah, exactly. You look
Yeah,
in the mirror in
exactly,
there, you go, oh, you know.
exactly. Pictures don't always tell exactly what
Hey,
happened. But listen,
the best one yesterday was Anthony Martial arrives at training, disappears after 5 minutes. Here we go again.
injured.
Martial's
He's
injured.
injured.
He's injured. It's a disgrace. Turns out, training was in the afternoon, mate. Got there the wrong time.
But Owen, can I just say something on that? Yeah, I know,
Good for him,
like
though.
we're
Good
in
for
the
him
mud.
showing up early.
No, listen, like Owen, we're in the
What?
mud, yeah. We're in the mud, right? Loads of things happening off the pitch. We know this, right? Why is he still getting the wrong time? I know you're early. You're still wrong. Like, why don't anyone know what's going on? We're getting players coming to train early, then you got to go home and come back. It's
I
embarrassing.
thought-
Get the right time, bro.
What's kind of wild to me is so they say he arrived at
Get the right
8:56,
time.
and if he's thinking trains at 9, I'm like, well, you're early, but it makes close, pretty
Mate,
close
you
that
should
one.
that's a bit close. You got to be on the
Exactly.
pitch at
We got
9.
the
You
boots
got to
on.
put your boots on and all that.
Yeah,
You
I
shouldn't
don't
be
know,
getting there then.
but just the idea of him showing up,
Come on,
wrong
man.
time. Shit, we've all been there. We've all done that.
No, but what I'm saying, Owen, is I'm saying that still adds to the embarrassment. Not
Oh
well done. At
yeah,
least he's early. At least he's keen. No. Where's the communication? How have you got it wrong?
but
Why
also
don't you
as
know when our
well,
training is?
it's the wrong time to do that because if it was any other week where the pressure's not that intense and the media aren't waiting there,
That's what I mean.
I bet Martial's thinking of all the weeks, turning around,
Yeah,
going,
driving out, like, a barrier goes up, and you can't. And it's like, fuck's sake. Mate, I would have just stayed there. I would have just
Yeah, I'd
stayed
have
the whole
pretended.
time.
I'd have turned it in
Don't
my
play
own way,
FIFA or
gone,
something in a canteen or whatever.
or
Just
just
go.
be like, I tell you what, his dedication. He turns up like 6 hours early, and he just does Cristiano Ronaldo settings. You know what I mean? He's there from sunrise
Yeah,
in the
but
gym.
nah, but Ronaldo, Messi, Martial can't, be doing extra like that. Let's just
No,
give him the normal
no.
load. Just
But
it's a
can you
stretch for
imagine
him to even do what's
even the
going on now.
staff,
He can't be doing extra.
staff when they arrive at training like 3 o'clock, they're like, Martial's been here since 9.
Yeah,
He's just sleeping in the canteen, you know.
bro. I just looked at that and thought, okay, although it's good he's not injured, this is embarrassing. We've got players going at the manager publicly, right? We've got statements galore, right? And now we've got flipping players who are turning up to training at the wrong time. Is this Sunday League? Oh, I thought it was. Oh, I thought it was. This is big Man
It
United.
is like Sunday League, isn't it? You know
What's
those
going
people that
on?
would be like, you ever had it where Sunday League group, whatever, and then you get a message in the group going, "I'm here. Where is everyone?" You go,
Oh,
"Game,"
yeah,
and you go, "Game's tomorrow." Is it?
yeah. Or I thought, I thought it was home. We're playing away
Yeah, I
today.
was. You're playing away. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Proper like amateur stuff, mate. Exactly that. That
Yeah.
used to happen loads of times.
Game's been called off. Is it? It's been called off hours. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Waterlog pitch, mate. We said it at
Yeah.
10:30 this morning in the group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, bro,
Oh.
like it's just typical. Honestly, Brighton preview, like we just kind of touched on, it is coming out a short while after this, kind of sandwiched in between this and Owen's going to be doing a presser later. So that's about, when did you say 1:45?
1:45. Well, it's weird actually because I think the press conference happens at like 1:30, but it's broadcast at 1:45, and
Yeah,
then
it's
I'll be
embargoed
live
till then.
about 2. Yeah.
Okay. You were a sweat once. Says big up to the UV team. Where has the FIFA streams gone? Josh to be removed as temporary DOF. The FIFA streams / EAFC streams are coming not this week. Then when it comes out which is next week, right? I think. When's the game come out? The game comes out next week.
Let me check.
Yeah, I did check last week. So it comes out.
Release date.
Yeah, it's next week.
September 29.
Yeah. So when it comes out, we will.
If you pre-order the Ultimate Edition, some people will be able to play the game from September 22nd.
Yeah, I hate all that.
But the
pay so much money just for that.
But the worldwide release is September 29. I mean, and I think, to be honest, what it really stems from is that you didn't want to do the Middlesbrough career. You didn't want to drop down.
No, but we said there was no point. There was no
You've
point.
embarrassed yourself.
We have embarrassed ourselves. It was all there for everybody to see. We can't hide away from what happened. But there was no point starting. We were never going to finish it. We wouldn't be able to get promotion back to the Premier League. There wasn't enough time, and the new one was coming out. So it's just perfectly timed. What do you want us to do? You know. So now we're going to start again at Man United.
I have a request. I have a request though this time.
Don't put all the money up.
Yes, that would be my request because it got
just work with whatever the budget is.
Yeah, and because it'll be a lot anyway, and work with the players that you've got. But even the crazy thing is, even with the money.
And there was a period where he was actually doing really well. It was because the first season was so bad. That's why.
Yeah, but even your second season,
we were doing all right for ages. We were in a title race.
The drop off. You guys completely lost your heads.
It was a period of about 4 or 5 games where I think we lost them all, and then we were just out of the top 4 race, out of everything, and then it just But we
remember the winner. Remember the winner against City and the magic moment and all that kind of stuff. Just after that, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. And like someone just said there, Middlesbrough career is mad. I mean, we actually want people to watch. Like, would you not tune in if we were still in the Championship? They probably would actually.
They tune in for Flay G. That's what they tune in for.
That's true. Nem Green says, "Great show, boys. Do you think Pelestri will start, especially after his interview?" I hope so.
I hope so.
I hope so. I really do hope so. I don't see why he can't, why he shouldn't, but I really do hope so. Mike Kremen says, we banned flex on touching goalposts, yet Owen's father goes unsupervised. This has to stop.
You can't supervise my dad. The guy's a madman.
Well, you can.
No, I can't. I've tried for years. I have a whole life.
Well, you got to do something to stop him getting all these shirts because his jinx is very strong.
I literally there was like discussions at one point when he was like, "Oh, I want to get this person, but I don't think I should now." Because he
knows. Yeah, he knows.
I'm
he
like,
knows, mate.
You're an old man. Do what you want.
Exactly. There you go, guys. But anyway, a massive busy day today. Stay tuned across United View across the day. There's going to be a lot happening. Let's here's fingers crossed, right? And actually drop a like on the video for this actually, because we're nearly at can do 500, we're at 410. Smash a like on a video for the anticipation or hope that the presser just goes the best it can given the circumstances, and there isn't a whole new set of talking points, i.e., Ten Hag says some mad stuff, or the players are really injured and can't play. Please, because anyhow we have to play Evans and Maguire. It's gonna be.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if he went in the press conference today and went, Jadon Sancho never play for Man United again, sort of thing? Like, do you know?
He won't do that.
You know, like De Zerbi did about Caicedo.
Yeah,
he
did.
I've already forgotten about him.
Yeah, he won't do that. I don't think he'll do that. The worst Ten Hag will do is it's up to him. There are rules. We have to follow these rules. It's my job to manage the group the best I can to instill the principles that we have to follow, and it's no different to Jadon or anyone else. And it's up to him to. I think that's the most. If he moves away from the statement's been made, because he might have to say something. How did you feel when he put that out?
Yeah,
of course. It's something
it's
we
not
have to
about.
deal with.
It's not
It's not about me. It's about the standards and the. Do you know what I mean? So he's gonna have to. I don't think he can just say statement, because there's too much to it. Especially if they ask him, like I said, what was your reaction when that went out, Eric? That must have been very. You helped him last year. How did that feel for you? Very disappointing for you. It's not about me. So we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. But yes, that's what I was gonna say. Smash a like on the way out. For the please just come out unscathed from the presser. No controversy, no madness, please, man. Because we've got a big game tomorrow, and I'm actually fairly nervous about it. I just want to get up there and I just want the game to have happened and get 3 points and get out to Bayern. Because it's a big week for Man United, and these two games are big pressure, man. Considering everything, if we're on the wrong end of these two results, it'd be really bad. Really bad, when you get the bad results mixed with the stuff off the field, it's not great. So yes, anyway, guys, we'll be back later on. Preview's coming out very soon. Check that out. Really good preview. Gives you a good in-depth look at Brighton as well. Really good from Ryan from TSR. And after that, you'll get Owen live with the presser as well. So loads to come today. And we'll see you again very soon. Peace.